Hey, are you a real estate investor? It is your real estate wealth tied to Section 8 benefits that you receive from the government. Well, in today's podcast, I'm going to talk about some of the new changes that are being proposed by President Trump. Welcome to the Never Lose a Deal podcast. My name is Brown-Phillips, and today I am talking about Section 8 and some of the proposed changes that possibly will go into effect. So, if you're new to this podcast is for real estate investors who are looking for creative ways to be able to expand their portfolio using different methods of funding and financing. And that is why I thought today's topic would be a good topic to talk about because it is an initiative that is being proposed, but it hasn't taken to effect. So, just in case you are not a real estate investor and you're not familiar with Section 8, let me just give you an overview of what Section 8 is. Section 8 is a rental assisting income source that comes from the federal government. It is actually under the HUD agency of the federal government. And currently, right now, President Trump wants to change that initiative. He doesn't want it to be under the umbrella of the federal government, and he wants it to be part of the states. Now, unfortunately, when I am talking about this topic today, I'm not talking about it from the perspective of the tenants. I'm going to talk about from the perspective of a real estate investor because many real estate investors do receive Section 8 vouchers for some of the tenants that they have who live in their rentals. Maybe it's a rental home, maybe it is an apartment, maybe it is a multifamily. And so, what is being proposed is that Trump wants the states to be able to manage that rental assisting program. How does that affect you as a real estate investor? Have you even considered how that may change your wealth? Because there are some real estate investors who are heavily involved in the Section 8 voucher program for a lot of their tenants. And so, where I come in is that with a lot of clients that I work with, I assist them with getting financing, I assist them with getting funding. And the one thing that I know is true when it comes to this space of Section 8, it really does depend on the neighborhood or the area that you invest in. Many investors have a grading scale of the areas that they invest in. Some investors invest in, A grade neighborhoods, some invest in B, and some invest in C and D. Now, of course, I don't have any data on the whole pool of real estate investors, but I'm only going to speak from the parameters of the investors that I work with. And one thing that I have noticed is that the investors that I have noticed are prepared to pivot. That's right, they are prepared to pivot in the event that there may be a change with the money coming from the federal government and being managed by the states. Because a lot of times when change does happen, it won't be immediate, it will take some time. And so many of the investors that I work with and I talk to regarding this proposed change saw something similar with COVID. And what do I mean by COVID? There were many investors that I know who held as well as hold real estate during that time, and they had to deal with tenants who did not pay for a myriad of reasons. It could have been maybe they got laid off, maybe they no longer was receiving the income from their job. It could have gotten reduced. And one thing that I noticed is that with that change that did occur and did happen, many of the investors that I know started to put parameters in place because nobody could foresee a worldwide pandemic. The same way with Section 8. Section 8 has always been that type of program in many real estate spaces where investors were always told it is guaranteed income, especially for investors who invest heavily in C and D neighborhoods, even DNFs neighborhoods, because the one thing that is certain is that you were going to get guaranteed, guaranteed rental income from that Section 8 voucher. And so, although these changes have not been certain, they haven't put in place, it's just something that is proposed. One thing that I know for certain, and I don't claim to be no economist or or expert when it comes to what may change within the government, but this is what I definitely do believe. I definitely think that a lot of what we have been used to seeing in the landscape of mostly a lot of things in the government, there is going to be a change. The world that we knew no longer exists. Don't mean to get off a tangent, but even what I see in terms of with the government, I know me personally, I have a lot of family who are employed, or should I say, was employed um, within the federal government. And even with the changes that took place in the new year of 2025, I have a cousin who whole department was literally dismantled. They were given a package and department gone. Other family members that I know are still within the government, haven't got affected, but that's just one cousin. I also have another cousin. Departments has have been dismantled. So I say this to say, with changes that have occurred, there could be a possibility that there may be changes within the Section 8 voucher program within the federal government. And one thing that I know for certain, a lot of people are saying, well, Trump is a real estate person. He's a real estate guy. He won't let this happen. Hey, at the end of the day, I think it is a much bigger game that is being put in place, that is being rolled out, that goes beyond what President Trump is. Even with people saying, oh, well, his father built his wealth in New York City housing with Section 8 vouchers. That may be the case. But my thing is this: what are you doing now? If you are a real estate investor and you truly feel like your wealth is connected to you receiving real estate HUD vouchers, what are you putting in place just in case that can happen? Because this is what I do know. If this change does occur, and the states are now going to manage it, there are states currently right now that are not tenant friendly states. They're not tenant friendly. And if this does occur and states do have to manage these Section 8 vouchers, I would look at it as if I'm an investor and I do have a portion of my wealth tied to getting Section 8 vouchers, currently in the market that we're in now, with Section 8 vouchers being under the umbrella of the federal government, is my state tenant friendly? Because this is what I just know. If they allow the states to manage it, and you know your state is not tenant friendly, it can be a chance that when the rollout does occur, that there can be an interruption, meaning that things may not go as smoothly as one may think it should be. So these are just some of the things to even consider if you are a real estate investor and your wealth or your income is largely heavily tied to Section 8, is to really take into account what is the portfolio that I currently have, what is it made up of? Am I heavenly am I heavenly I'm a current real estate investor? Is my current portfolio heavenly weighed in the area of Section 8 vouchers? And what can I do to balance that portfolio? So if this change does occur and happen, I'm not the one that gets taken the hit. And when I say I, meaning my real estate company. So I just wanted to just in this podcast episode kind of just want to, you know, give my 2 cents in regards of the landscape as we know it right now. The real estate landscape as we know it when it comes to Section 8 vouchers. When it comes to you as a real estate investor being heavily weighted in the Section 8 area when it comes to income. How is your real estate portfolio balanced? Is it heavily balanced with real estate? I mean, with Section 8 income, or is it heavily balanced in the area of market rents? Because, like I said, during COVID, I've seen some investors who n- didn't have tenants who were receiving Section 8, and they decided that, okay, I'm going to go in this area because when I was dealing with market rents and the pandemic occurred, a lot of my rentals took a hit. Whereas Section 8, even during COVID, those checks were still coming in. And so I've seen some real estate investors, they did make that switch. They did decide to turn from market rates to Section 8 because they wanted that guaranteed income. And so my question is, if you were one of those investors who kind of made that transition, how has it changed everything with the proposed changes that may come down the line? So once again, this is Lorelia. Like I said, just wanted to kind of touch on the proposed cuts that may happen with the federal government, and what are you doing as a real estate investor to be able to handle those cuts if they happen? And also, is your state a tenant friendly state? I think that is something to consider, because if this is rolled out, can this transition happen, and can it even be something that will be smooth sailing for some investors? Those are some of the things to consider. So once again, this is Lorelia Brown-Phillips. Welcome, and should I say not welcome, but thank you for checking out the Never Lose a Deal podcast. As always, this podcast episode is being sponsored by Leverage Portfolio Capital. If you are a real estate investor and you want to diversify your funding and financing options, and you want to look at things such as how to be able to leverage business funding with some of the financing, investing mortgage options like DSCR, fixed to flip, fixed to rent. Just go to www.leverage portfolio capital. You'll see it scrolling right here on the ticker. There you can put in information about the current real estate investment that you're looking to buy, and someone